Our community and our businesses are now more than a year into our work to respond and adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic. For many small businesses, the goal has been to keep going, to survive. For some employers, construction projects, plans to expand facilities and add employees here in Hillsboro have carried on as planned. They've helped to keep our local and state economy moving forward. Our economic development priority for the city is something that the council really is focused on. And we're also focused on COVID-19 response and recovery as well. As a business-friendly community, we want to continue to help our small businesses, especially those that have been deeply impacted during this pandemic, get back to a level of economic stability and security in the year ahead, and then to continue to help our entire community grow into the future. Joining me here to talk about economic development and business support are Hillsboro City Councilor Rick Van Beveren, Deanna Palm, the President of the Hillsboro Chamber of Commerce, Jonathan Colon, the Director of Centro de Prosperidad, Joanna Canfield, owner of Joanna's Bake Shop, Tim Brown, the Vice President and General Manager of Genentech, and Dan Diaz, Economic and Community Development Director for the City of Hillsboro. Thank you all for being here with me today. And I'd like to start with Councilor Van Beveren and Joanna, because you are both small business owners who have had to persevere throughout this last year just to get to this moment. How have you felt support from the community throughout this past year?
Well, thank you, Mayor. The Reedville Cafe has been around for a long time, and we are so fortunate to have a loyal and supportive clientele and staff working there. We count ourselves as lucky, frankly, in spite of all the challenges associated with the pandemic and the changes that we've had to make. The city, and especially the chamber, have been great resources for us as we move forward, very supportive of the entire small business community as we've all tried to navigate this really difficult period in our history. So our customers have been terrific. They've sat outside, they've worn masks, they've socially distanced, they've had to comply with all the protocols that the state has laid out for us, and they've ordered online and picked up food, and so we're very grateful.
Thanks. Joanna.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Mayor Calloway. For Joanna's Bake Shop, it definitely has been the customers that have kept our business thriving through this time. Loyal customers led us to introducing me to owner of Pumpernickel, Crystal Michael Monroe, who hosted my first pop-ups so I can meet more of the community and show my products. She introduced me to Davita Davis, owner of Richest Ornament Hair Salon, also downtown Hillsboro. And meeting other business owners led me to meeting community members that work for different departments of the city. I got to connect and become a member of the Chambers of Commerce. It's helped me find grants, and thank you to the City of Hillsboro and Washington County for awarding me a grant to help my business propel, and also providing an ear to hear like what's been working for my bakery, customers sharing what they like, expanding into different dietary preferences like vegan options, gluten-free options. So I've been blessed for the whole city as a whole for support.
That's great. And it was at one of those pop-up markets there at Pumpernickel is where I met you. And that's when I first had your cinnamon rolls, which are, just one of my very favorite things. Is that your signature dish? And Rick, also, what signature dishes at Reedville Cafe are you especially proud of, and do your customers, enjoy? And so Joanna, what's your signature item at your bakery?
Definitely my cinnamon rolls. They're based off of a recipe that's been in my family since my grandmother. And I made some modifications to include a vegan option for cinnamon rolls. And we moved here to be closer to my mother. And the first place she actually took me, all of us, for breakfast was Reedville Cafe. So even before I was planning to start a bakery, I feel like the community has just been welcoming, and I've been really grateful to be living here and to start a business here.
Well, we are so glad to have you here, and we're very grateful for our new businesses as well as our longtime businesses like Reedville. And what are your favorite dishes, your signature item, Rick?
Well, first, I want to say that I'm really interested in those cinnamon rolls that Janelle mentioned. So, well, we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but two of my favorites are at breakfast: the Orient Coast omelet, which is kind of what it is, and as the Sammy Scramble, which was named for one of our former cooks. That's kind of a unique dish. So, I think our customers really enjoy those two.
Those both sound very, very good. Deanna, I'm going to switch to you. Both Joanna and Rick mentioned the importance of the chamber and your involvement, and you have been engaged with so many businesses throughout this past year. What are you hearing from them, and what are you telling them?
Thank you very much, Mayor. And it's always nice to hear that the work that we're doing is effective for the small business community. Like many of them, we've never experienced this before. And so ensuring that we're providing resources, what we're hearing from them is, and I would really put our business community in the stage of resiliency, right? They're very resilient. They have great tenacity. They're getting weary, but they still have hope. And it's really nice that we're in this situation where we're not counting now the number of people that have contracted COVID-19. We're really focusing on how many people have been vaccinated. In my mind, that's the keys to the kingdom for us getting out of this. So we're here, a lot of hope happening as the numbers continue to increase about the number of people that have been vaccinated. That just brings people up. It lets them see the light at the end of the tunnel. They see that, potentially help is on the way again from the federal government. Can't get here soon enough because, again, a long road to hoe. But the resiliency and the innovation we've seen in our small business community, simply amazing. The passion that these people have for their business, but also for their employees, to watch what they've been going through, openings, closings, back openings, closings again. Wow, it's been a lot. And they have held their heads high. They have asked for help when they needed it. They've also helped other community members. We've seen people that have been really struggling themselves. They're the first ones to reach out and say, what can I do to help? It's been amazing. And I couldn't be more proud of the city of Hillsboro, the way that they have responded to this, the help that they've extended. It really made our businesses feel so supported, and they've always felt like somebody had their back. So thank you for that.
Well, and you've been a key partner in that, Deanna, with the small business grants, as well as, helping with the distribution of PPE, and also being a business recovery center in the county. So you've been an equally important partner for the city and the county. Dan, since March of 2020, the Economic and Development Department here for Hillsboro has been stretched incredibly thin, further than it's ever been before, in engaging with nearly every business in Hillsboro. Share with us, what you and your team have done throughout this past year.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It has been a busy and often challenging year indeed, one in which we could not have predicted the level of need and engagement that we would be asked upon, but it was also one that pushed our creativity and problem solving. And I want to echo the thanks and appreciation to the entire community, but especially our many community-based partners such as the Chamber of Commerce and Centro de Prosperidad, who are represented here with us today, for all that they've done to support, help define and understand what those needs were as they evolve, and really help us to be responsive into those spaces. From the city's standpoint, we ultimately conducted 6 rounds of monetary grants to try to support our small and medium-sized businesses, especially those that were most impacted by the effects of the pandemic and everything else that occurred in 2020. And in those grants, we awarded over $4 million in nearly 1,300 small and medium-sized businesses grants throughout the course of the full year. And I was also much appreciative to the support and help that we were able to reach a broad cross-sect of our community as well. 55% of those recipients were women-owned businesses. 25% were Asian or Pacific Islander owned, and similarly, 24% were Hispanic and or Latinx owned businesses as well. So really being able to touch and reach all of our community with those efforts was important. We also early on in the pandemic recognized that there was a shortage for a period of time for things like personal protective equipment and hand sanitizer. So we started very early and awarded 151 grants for that equipment, really in the spirit of trying to support those small businesses, their employees, and the patrons that were visiting them. And then lastly, we also provided support for physical operation around some of those restaurant businesses especially. We created outdoor dining areas and supported the construction of those. We refer to them as parklets. Many have probably seen those in our downtown core, especially like at Shun Izakaya, Pizza Rio, or outside of Insomnia Coffee on Main Street. And we also helped to provide tents and heaters as those outdoor dining venues last summer then transitioned into our wet fall and winter, and trying to still support that within some of those operating limitations. And then in addition to that, we've also been trying to be more creative with things like our tenant improvement grant, which allows either existing businesses or those coming into new spaces to receive a grant from the city to help physically augment those spaces, whether it's related to seating or making new investments. And we believe that that'll continue to be an important tool as we look to additional recovery and new opportunities in the year ahead. And then lastly, I wanted to shift in terms of what we did to some of our medium and large size companies, is we really had to, out of our business development team, shift to how we engage those medium and large businesses. We conducted 70 virtual visits, and we really sought to track what their needs were, which were sometimes different from what we saw in our smaller business community. Workforce development and finding employees, logistical and supply chain needs as well. And in some cases, those visits led to additional expansions and investment in Hillsboro.
Thank you, Dan, and thanks for your great work all throughout this last year. Tim, at Genentech, you're actually Genentech was one of the businesses that I was thinking of as I talked about, expansion, during this past year. And, so how have you, managed that expansion and adapted just your normal operating procedures, throughout this last year?
Yeah, it's been an incredible year. Thanks for the question. I mean, first of all, I just want to recognize the resilience of our staff and their focus on supplying life-saving therapeutics to patients and their ability to adapt and change to new circumstances. Back in January last year, we set up an incident management team to focus on supply chain and focus on bringing our raw materials from Asia and China, as some of those supply chains were impacted by COVID. And that quickly changed to how do we focus on the health and well-being of our staff and all the contractors that were building the new facilities here on our campus. And amazing support from the community and amazing support from the trades. We quickly segregated different parts of the campus. So we had our core business of manufacturing biologic medicines. We had the folks that could work from home, and then we had the contractors that were coming every day, doing the mechanical and the electrical work on our new facilities. And everyone did an amazing job of playing their part to protect one another. And it was the simple things like the people working from home. How do we support them with their kids being at home and homeschool, and focusing on giving them flexibility to take care of the kids, but also get their work done. And also focus on mindfulness and how do we how do we break away from the stress of COVID? And then for the folks on site who are working every day to make the medicines, simple things like, how can we accommodate time for them to go to the grocery store when the grocery stores had very strict and rigid hours? So it was really a process of working with the community, working with our employees, and working together to come up with the best solutions to keep us all healthy.
And those are all really remarkable things that you did, to support within. But those of us who drive by on Brookwood and Evergreen, we see the big project, that's being constructed. Can you tell us about your expansion?
Yeah, no, I love to. And isn't it amazing the progress we've made in the year of COVID? So yeah, we're building a new $170 million manufacturing facility, state-of-the-art facility for our future products and the future pipeline. Over 130,000 square feet of manufacturing and quality control space. We're hoping that we'll get occupancy towards the end of Q1, just around the corner realistically. And again, this is a shift in technology for us and moving from the larger scale biologics, the monoclonal antibodies that we produce in the main plant to the sister plant that will be producing individualized therapies and medicines. So super excited about the new jobs that's creating, over 100 new jobs so far. In addition to that, we've got a 30,000 square foot new training center that will support the campus as well. And again, we'll hopefully get occupancy of that in the coming weeks. And actually beyond that, you'll start to see a 1.3 megawatt solar array being constructed as well on the west end of the facility. So for us, it's been an amazing time of growth. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we appreciate your commitment to our community. We also appreciate your commitment, with your solar array to our sustainability efforts throughout our community as well. So Jonathan, as we talk about businesses that are growing and expanding, then that just, emphasizes the importance of having a skilled and available labor force. So tell me, how have your clients, your customers there at Centro de Prosperidad, managed to, work and progress and equip themselves, throughout this past year?
It's been an amazing year, Mayor. I think our team has had to reinvent itself many times over. We look at everything in stages. I think the first stage, we had frontline workers that never left the frontline, and just getting them PPP and getting them support as they were trying to scramble for those things. Then we moved into the stage where we had to do unemployment insurance with the situations that were happening at the state, as well as our partners, our small businesses trying to figure out how to retain the teams and working through some of our local programs that would have supported that. We even ended up having a hotline across our county to be able to support bilingual filings of unemployment claims. These things went on and on for some time. But in the midst of that, our team looked at worked on moving us along the way. Digital literacy was a huge learning curve for a lot of us, as well as our team, and also trying to move everything to online. I give kudos to one of our team that works in advancement. They were able to move 40 individuals who were not computer savvy into a virtual learning environment. And they still continue for the entire time that we've been through. So it's been pretty amazing. We've had, I think, 7 graduates who were able to get their GED during COVID, and the challenges with not having opening centers to test and those kind of things. We also saw a big need in some sectors that required revamping. I think the healthcare sector and logistics. So we ran and worked with a lot of our local partners. I remember we got a call from one of our education partners and said that they had Guadalupe, one of our successes this year, who was in one of our collective groups of people who were doing CNA. She had taken the $500 that she had received for unemployment, her first unemployment check and invested. And the school was so moved that they called and say, can Prosperidad help? And we not only were able to help her move through her first phase and her second phase, but also she was part of that entire class that was picked up by Providence coming out. I think we had, at the end of this cycle, we've had about 48 people who've made that transition from something else into healthcare. So it's been a year of transition. I think Prosperidad has worked really hard with our partners. I'm very, very fortunate. And I look at Dan, who's on this call. His team and our team sat a year before this and looked at contingencies for what a dip in the economy will look like. So these conversations and the scenarios were already familiar to us. We didn't know that this dip meant what this dip meant, but it was awesome that the forethinking of the city of Hillsboro and these scenarios that we played out and really were really helpful as we moved. Our organization also had our learning curves, right? We had our first virtual fair and we ended up with 95 attendees. We were asked to bring in the Small Business Legal Clinic to support some of those employment conversations along the way. So it's been an amazing year in a lot of different ways, but we've had to reinvent and show that we are resilient.
Thank you. And I really appreciate how you have been as flexible to respond to the needs of businesses as businesses have had to be flexible to respond, to the restrictions, because of the pandemic. And it's exciting to think that there are almost 50 individuals who, coming out of a pandemic situation, are better employed, better educated, and better empowered than they were going in. So thank you for being there and doing that very important work. Here's a question for all of you, because as we look ahead, to 2021, besides the vaccine, what do you see as the greatest need as we look to recover? And Deanna, may I start with you?
Sure. So I think definitely it's rebuilding consumer confidence. With that, we need to see the restrictions reduced, get back up to where you can have, 100% of capacity. That's going to parallel with the vaccination being delivered. But as soon as we can get there, the better. And then really making sure that we're promoting the fact that, it's very safe to go into these businesses, and we really would encourage them to come back out to the shops.
Thanks. Joanna, what do you see as the greatest need?
Getting the information for the resources to the community members. As active in the Hillsboro School District, as a parent here and as a business owner, we developed a new PAC, Parent Advisory Committee, called Black Family Village, to get the word out more about resources in Hillsboro. But not just for families of color, but for all members. I'm still surprised how often I hear, oh, I didn't know about this resource or that the city offers. Just really getting the word out in all different facets, especially to parents, people who are have food insecurities, housing issues, job issues. I feel like we're doing it, and we just need to keep powering through getting the word out to resources. And thank you to Hillsboro Chambers. They formed a Black Business Advisory Committee that's really helping other Black-owned businesses find out about resources that maybe they didn't know about before.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Yes, Mayor. I think that there's a couple of things that will be very significant. Training, and you touched about this. Creating pathways for people to actually look at their skills and look at what new skills they need to acquire as we moved into what the new economy will look like, right? So a vaccinated economy. Training is going to be really significant. Reskilling is going to be very significant. Digital literacy and working on that digital divide would be really, really significant.
Thank you. Tim.
Yeah, two things come to mind. Resilience and, continuing to adapt and change to new circumstances and really jumping on to sort of new opportunities. And with that, the courage to step out and be bold as a community.
Excellent. Rick, Councilor Van Beveren.
For small businesses, I would echo some of the sentiments expressed by Joanna Palm. We need to, as restrictions are relaxed, encourage people to shop locally, to not succumb, as I have, to the Amazon effect of having everything dropped at your door, and re-engage with the businesses that we want to see survive in our community. So that's what I'm hoping happens as we emerge from this year-long crisis.
Thanks. Thank you. Dan.
For us, it's stay engaged with the community to both support the areas of strength and opportunities, such as some of the employment growth and investment in North Hillsboro that Tim and others have alluded to, and then also to continue in support of especially those areas of need, but of particular note are small businesses throughout the community.
Thanks. So now that you've acknowledged the greatest need, what's the one thing that we as individuals, as consumers, as families, what's the one thing that we can do to help Hillsboro businesses move forward in 2021? And Deanna, I'll start with you again.
I would just echo, the counselor's comments about getting beyond what I call the click and receive habit. You've got to hit the streets. You've got to go in the doors. Even if you can purchase that item from that vendor online, they want to see your face. And I know many of our small businesses have pivoted and been able to get online their products, but they really need to have you come through the door and say, how are you doing? How can I help? It's good to see you, because it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and that how can I help is a really key question to ask. Joanna, how can we help?
So Mayor, as I think about this, is I recognize that for the near future, most employees will be in this hybrid role where they'll be doing multiple hats. And I think a smile and kindness and patience as we try to recover will go a long way. People are working really hard, and they're carrying a lot of different jobs. And I think that our supporting those staff as they go through this will be very helpful.
Excellent. And Joanna, how can we help Joanna's Bake Shop?
Your question makes me think of, we have a program called You Create, We Bake, and it's developing your dream cookie. You pick your cookie dough, and out of 26 different ingredients we offer, you pick up to 3. Well, it's the same way with helping a community. Like many of the other panelists have said, get out there and find out what, maybe it's just your neighbor, a fellow customer. And it's like finding the dough. What dough do they need? Like, is it housing? Maybe just someone to talk to, being in food industry. If someone mentions, I'd love to order, but I really can't afford it right now. Well, are you being able to afford your basic needs? And if you're not, how can I help? Well, the help is like the ingredients they need. And it's not just handing them the ingredients, it's actually baking it, helping them bake it for them. So here's the phone number. Do you need help like booking an appointment for a community member? Or maybe it's you as another business owner. There's some other bakers out there I try to give advice to about how to get your license, your home bakery license. It's just listening to other community and other business owners and sharing the wealth and paying it forward, just like other business owners helped me, and just paying it forward so everyone gets that dream cookie in their life.
And Joanna, if we wanted to find out more about that dream cookie, do you have a website or a Facebook page that you can tell us about that we can go to?
Thank you. I do. It's JoannaBakeShop.com, Facebook.com/Joanna's Bake Shop, JELANAS BAKESHOP.com.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing. Tim, from your perspective, how can we help as a community?
Well, I'm getting hungry now. So for me, it's let's get out and get downtown as business leaders. Let's maybe connect downtown and have a cup of tea, enjoy the great Wi-Fi, go grab a cinnamon roll or one of these dream cookies. So yeah, I think we need to get out and start spending some of our money with our local communities.
Very good. Thank you. And Dan.
Mayor, from my end, a wise person once told me, be thoughtfully bold. And to really echo what a lot of the other panelists have said, we need to be safe, but also ready to re-engage our small businesses and continue to support them. We also need to continue to be re-innovative as we seek to recover and rebuild even better yet. And that, again, gets back to really playing to a lot of the opportunities and strengths that this community has as our foundation, and seeking just to come back better and stronger as a Hillsboro.
Excellent. And Councilor Van Beveren, I'll give you the last word.
I just think we need the confidence that things are going to improve from here on out. And, Hillsboro remains a vibrant, growing, business-friendly city. I look out and I see South Hillsboro, the development there, the beautiful, well-planned new community, and I see new customers. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, and I just think we need to have the patience and persistence to carry on through the balance of this pandemic and on to a better future.
Thank you. And and I'll just add to that. One of the things I remember reading early on is, think of those businesses that have been there for us, for our auctions, our fundraisers, who have given back to our community. This is our opportunity to show that loyalty is a two-way street. So do remember to shop locally, downtown, in Tannisbourne, Orenco, and Reedville, and all throughout Hillsboro. And do remember, as has been mentioned, to be kind, to show extra measures of grace, because we're all in this together, but together we will all get through this as well. I feel like we just scratched the surface, this whole topic. And so thank you for giving us your time and your perspectives this morning. On behalf of the city of Hillsboro, I want to thank Deanna Palm, the president of our Hillsboro Chamber of Commerce, Councilor Rick Van Beveren, Jonathan Colon, the director of Centro de Prosperidad, Joanna Canfield, owner of Joanna's Bake Shop, Tim Brown, the vice president and general manager of Genentech, and Dan Diaz, our economic and community development director. And thanks to all of you who are watching. We appreciate your participation and engagement with us. And so whether you're watching on your television, on your computer, on your phone, we appreciate your time. And I'd remind you that there's a total of 6 State of the City panel discussions. So please remember to watch the others as well. And here's to a better 2021, economically, mentally, and health. And so take care, and we will see you out and about in Hillsboro. Thank you.